Okay, so here I am about ready to start California Gold. I'm going to start with the first player over here. I shuffled the decks over again, and I'll put out 6 of these. I've got a bunch in Riverside, all running off the UP. That's attractive right to begin with. Hey, Hanford. You can go to GMT there. Okay. And you'll notice I've taken the suggestion to use poor man's poker chips here. I actually think that these are advantageous over poker chips. It's just coins, obviously, because of their small size. And I'm very used to handling coins in another life. So, in order to fully make my decision, I need to look at what my cards are here. So here, all regional advertising is removed from the board. County election players with no money in county politics lose a turn. Remove all chips from slot. So that's kind of the penalty for not being in here. $5 buys me a turn. That sounds appealing. I'm sorry, not there, up here in the political lobbying. Merchandising, repeat action of last card played. That could be interesting. A strike, in case things get out of hand here. Another strike. And then a war. So, is there anything terribly exciting I want to do? Not that comes to mind. So I'm going to start off with my chip in Riverside County. If I can find it over here. Because I'm most likely to be able to get possibly as much as 2 of these. Not right off the bat. This guy's going to go first. He might take one, but I probably won't be the only person in there, but I've got a good chance of being the guy with 2 shots at it. And I'll make these decisions across the board with the other players, but let's take a look at another hand of cards. Part of the fun in the game, and in a game like this, is seeing how the cards interact, the political cards, because they're random and everything. So the first time playing it, which is what I'm doing now, is going to be more of an exploration journey. As you play it more times and you get used to what the deck's going to be like, that's when you can start really, focusing on the importance of the strategy. Although there is something of a compendium of the different cards here and what they do. So I got a freeze here, which means I might want to avoid naval. Players with no money in county politics drop worker 2 slots. Remove all chips from slot. That's kind of interesting. I might want to pay my $5 to have that. Another freeze. Infestation. Player acquires no grove cards if you are not fumigating. Remove all chips from slot. So that's pretty minor. If I don't fumigate, it just means that I won't be able to pick up a grove card while that's the active action. Another freeze, and no cards may be acquired if you're not advertising. I think that just means these cards, not the automatic card here, but I'm not sure that that's what it means. So, again, not a lot, except he's kind of less interested in the naval oranges. And there's only one non-naval over in Santa Barbara. Now, the problem here is if I go into Santa Barbara, which I'm going to, white could beat me out there. That's the one problem, but that applies the same to Hanford as well. So, what can I do? I'll come back after I've assigned everybody else their locations. I don't think this is too interesting a decision making here. My mistake. When I was reading this, I didn't read carefully enough. Proceed counterclockwise, starting with the start player, in terms of selecting where you're going to start. So this guy actually doesn't get his pick next. What I'm going to do, I'm not going to have him make his pick either, because that'll have him be the first player, and that's kind of the best way that I can do things if I start with this guy picking first. And then we go counterclockwise around, and then it does end up serpentine, but it ends up clockwise for the rest of the game. And that's that was something that bothered me about the initial setup. It seemed a little strange. Yeah, this makes a lot more sense to go counterclockwise, which means I'll be starting here and working my way around this way. So I'll come back and discuss what the picks were and why. White had this card, which is kind of disturbingly not well written. No pay if you are not advertising. Now, my first thought is, oh, that means I don't get paid. That's a poor way to describe it. But I see elsewhere there are, well, see, this says no pay for naval orange groves. So it sounds kind of like that. This says no collect dues action. It means nobody can call the net collect dues action. But this no pay, I think, means you couldn't call that action out and use it, but you don't get paid. The problem is, there is an action that is called pay, or not an action, but something that is vaguely called pay, which is over here under working conditions. I think that's called paying. I saw something that led me to believe it was. Maybe not. Yeah, here. Each player may pay to improve working conditions. That's the only place where pay is mentioned as sort of an action type thing. But then I think it's meant to affect the money you make from collecting dues. But it's a shame because preventing you from taking a collecting dues action would get you no pay. So I don't know which way it's meant to be, but this card says no pay for naval orange groves, which wouldn't make sense in conjunction with moving the workers up. And the other one kind of doesn't make sense for moving the workers up, because you could pay your workers better even if there was competition, but you probably wouldn't be making money unless you can get people to agree that California oranges are better than Florida ones or something like that, which is why I think in terms of the topic I'm going to have to judge that that's what was meant there. But it is disturbing when we see some things like that. Okay, let's explain. Damn, Zoom is stuck again. My choices as to where to go. I can unplug. My power's good enough here. Okay, and it wasn't charging anyway. So white went here. Why? They had some freeze cards and might have wanted to go into Santa Barbara, but with only one card for Santa Barbara, it felt safest to me to go into the place where there were the most available things. Yellow then chose Los Angeles. Why? I could get shut out of anywhere. And Los Angeles has a big number on it. There weren't a lot of cards there. I thought I'd get away with it. Green, and you can see I didn't, went into Riverside. They knew they couldn't get shut out of Riverside. It's the only place they couldn't get shut out of, because white's already there. Hey, too bad. White may not get a chance to go at all. If all three on this side of the table go for Riverside, I still get one of those three. So I'm in good shape. I can pick up something if that's what I desire to do. Red went to Santa Barbara for the reasons that they went to Santa Barbara the other time. Blue had a couple of choices that could hit people here and here. This one's more attractive to them. They're not really terribly interested in the Valencia oranges, so because they don't have a lot of freezes. So they went into Los Angeles County, grabbed that. They figure red probably has freezes, but hey, so what? You know, maybe one round out of every 5 that's going to affect. So now we're at the beginning of the turn. And there are other issues. So I brought up the cards issue. There's a number of the cards that say lose a card. It doesn't specify what kind, but back in the back end of it, it talks about cards, and there's sort of a, not a compendium, but a discussion of the farm report. Some of them say when a farm report card directs players to lose a Grove card, these cards. Okay, well, that's the only mention of losing cards in there, and it makes sense to me that only Grove cards could be lost. I saw nothing that specifies Grove cards in specific. But I think there needs to be a little tightening up on the rules before this is released. I hope that's either been done already or it's not ready to go, and Patrick's using this as sort of combination hype builder for whatever level I can do that, and you know, some play testing live that may be of some value. Okay. Blue does not get to play a card by my judgment. Oh man, they've got to play one because otherwise they'll end up with too many cards. Because they get to draw one at the end of the turn, right? I don't know. Let's see what the end of turn sequence is. Yeah, it's a lot easier when I have an actual rule book. No. You draw when you, right after you play. So my judgment is blue does not get to play one. So they do get to take their turn though, or their first, they get the first turn in this round, and they get a choice of really anything they like. Now, they could pay out, but they don't have anything that generates money. To me, the important thing to do is to grab one of these. And we'll grab this one for Los Angeles County. We get nothing special for it. This refills, I believe. And it's another Los Angeles County, so orange, so yellow didn't get screwed out by this. And then I think this is going to have something to do with the frequency in the deck, which is why Santa Barbara may not be such a good choice no matter what. For similar reasons, I think every other player is going to try to grab territory at this point. They want to get something in their hands before, because you can't really generate income, you can't do anything without getting some of the groves into your co-op. And we've completed a round and everybody's been able to grab one of their orange groves. That's going to move the first player token to red. Everybody loses one of these. Now people have the option to pay, and it's only $1 each because they each only have one one of these packing houses. Some people may wish to. It starts with the new first player. Well, he's sitting on nothing that convinces him that it's worthwhile. So he'll pass on the opportunity. But green, for example, has a couple of strikes. Does he want to buy right now? Well, it's cheaper right now than it will be after I get any clearing houses or packing houses. So I am going to pay. Of course, everybody else might be thinking, well, gee, does that mean he's got them? A strike? How bad is it? Well, he'll probably hold it until these go down further if he does. So that may affect other people's decisions and make them choose to buy theirs up. It's only $1 right now. Why not? Well, maybe money will run short. Yeah, but I'm going to need... That's the problem with any kind of chips. I'm going to need to pay at some point. Well, or I could just leave it all the way at the bottom and say, well, money's the important thing, man. So I lose a turn. How much money, you know, right now it's only $1 a turn, but at some point it could be $4 or $5 a turn that I'm having to pay out to prevent myself from getting hosed by these. I might as well just leave my workers in total shit, right? And now the new player is going to have to pick a farm report card to play. And it looks like he's going to freeze. And this becomes the event in play for this round. The next player is going to get one as well. You know, the next round, we have a new first player who gets to pick one. And I get this, which will give me some other options as time goes on. But right now, I'm happy just playing the freeze. I'm the only guy who could conceivably do a payout. Worthwhile? Who knows, you know? I mean, nobody's going to call a payout at this point. So I'm essentially throwing a card away. Would I have rather done something else? Well, maybe. Maybe instead of that freeze, I would be better off paying this. No cards may be acquired if you are not advertising. Nobody's advertising. There are no cards for Santa Barbara, where I am. No big shock. I think it was a bad move to be there. But this seems like a cool event because it means nobody's going to be able to increase their empire at this point, which might be kind of neat. As to actions, if that's the case, well, let's look through the list here. We have to think about this. We could sweep the Grove off, but we're first player. I don't know how much value there is to doing that. Alternatively, we could look at some of these other options. Extra agency action if we're fertilizing, but that means we buy that extra action for $5. That's an expensive action. Players with no money lose 2 slots from their worker marker. That's kind of interesting. No money in the elections. Again, fumigating, you get no Grove cards if you do that, but that doesn't seem too big. I don't know. Nothing really looks like it's terribly valuable to me. So I think what I may want to do, except for the fact that I'm the only person down there, is I may want to expand into another county. San Bernardino has 2 over here. How much does that cost? Where's Build a Building? That's a new packing house. That cost me 5. Let's buy another packing house. I'm not really thrilled about this because I am the guy with a problem, but we'll put that there. And now it's going to cost me $2 per worker. That'll be my action. And I'll work around for the other guys. Nobody's advertising, so nobody's going to be able to expand new territory. Green is the next one. He's got a strike. Players with no money in county politics lose a card. Might be worth putting some money in politics. Get no pay. That's not too big a deal. Irrigating gives me an extra action. That's expensive. And then I got a bunch of strikes. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw $5 into county politics. State politics is more expensive, but, and you know, prepare myself for that. I'll come back with what other people do. We saw, let's see. Green went for the lobbying. Yellow and white chose the next cool thing, which was getting an agency office. That'll give them extra action. Something probably removes them. Because otherwise, why wouldn't you buy that and just have that for the rest of the game, you know? So there's a little bit of, I'm not sure about that, but I haven't seen anything yet. And blue has a political card, so they threw in the county, they threw into the political lobby too, figuring green's probably going to play a card on that. And theirs is pretty harsh, so they've got some worries that it might be worthwhile. That means we're at the administrative phase. This shoots down. All workers get dropped a slot. And now anybody but red can just pay $1 for their workers. That seems worthwhile. Yellow, white, and blue. But now red has to consider, because they're probably going to get a strike on their ass if they're not careful. But they have to pay the most. Now I've got this, which is kind of appealing. Do I want to pay $4 in order to boost my labor up there? Right now, the cost isn't that high, but I'm gonna have to be paying later soon. So I'm gonna pay my $4 and boost myself up as well. And now green has the option to play something. They had a county politics card they probably wanted to play. It's county election. And this. Now the county election removes their chip from the slot, so what they're playing instead is the child labor law, which is that if you don't have a county, the county election money, you can't get any pay. And that's kind of cool. We got to watch this next upcoming turn, because these guys get a supplementary action now. Me, I'm going to take a little break. But I'm going to move my lighter to be a token to indicate that this guy's already played his card. He gets a new card. Lose a turn if you're not fertilizing. Again, $5 you get a free turn off of it, essentially, because you knock everybody else's turn out. And that could be important at certain points in the game. But overall, I don't know, about $5 for a turn right now seems like a lot. Money seems tight right now. And we'll go on to green's decisions. Okay, after a little R&R there. Green opens things up. Hey, grabbed property. You know, it takes 3 of them to start getting any real evaluation in terms of being able to get the advertising or railway bonuses. It seems worth trying to build that up before I take payment. Otherwise, all I'd get is $2, you know, which I might need, but I'd rather increase my revenue flow before I do it. And that's the same with yellow. You know, he's sitting in Los Angeles County. He's not. Shit me. Oh yeah, he is. I'm sorry, these oranges are confusing me. I expect the houses to be the color. But it's the chip that's important. Yeah, he's sitting in Los Angeles County, so he picked that up. And this is the reason he picked it up, because he already had one there. That puts it to white, who does not have a good option. There's no more Riverside open. He could sweep this aside and kill this big swath of San Bernardino value. Or he could inject himself there or into one of the other places that are available. Orange County would probably be the best. That 6 there, to me, means that there's going to be a moderate number of these. That may actually be the number of them that are in the deck as well as the other value. But he's got another opportunity that he could take that I was considering. Rather than pay that, obviously he could just grab some cash. He has an agency, so he doesn't want to buy another one of them. He's going to get an agency action. Which would allow him 5 through 8. He could just grab money. That's an opportunity he could take. Or he could buy himself a nursery. Nursery is free, but it doesn't give much. See, if he sweeps the board, somebody else probably will do the same, but paying out seems so cheesy. Sweeping the board, however, yeah, that's only something I can do on my base turn. I guess I'll do that. I'm not allowed to place. I'm not allowed to add another using my special action either, so I don't know quite what I'll do, but and this looks like the best we have, and that'll open up a new layer of things for blue. Now blue is in Los Angeles County, so that's probably what he's going to be hoping for, but he's not seeing any, so he has to decide what he's up to. Finish up there with blue penetrating into Tulare County. They could have gone for Ventura as well. Either one had cards available and they had the highest numbers. Tulare was more attractive because had a Santa Fe possibility. I don't think the one that was available, I think it was this one, which isn't a Santa Fe, but one showed up after. Red picked up a Santa Barbara. Now they're in two different counties. That's okay, but they've got different rail lines connecting them, so that's not going to be a real opportunity for them to buy that way. But I think you really want to pick up property when you can. Now, we're not ready to go to the admin phase because white and yellow are each going to get an additional action. The other additional action is if you have a little monopoly house, a forest, a nursery. So these are more limited actions. Yellow gets the first option. Place a train. I can't do that yet. I only have 2. Advertise. It costs me money. I can't do that effectively. I don't have enough. Political lobbying. I could do that, but that costs money. Production amenities. Or move a packing house. Well, nothing really appeals. And I assume I can do 9 for this as well because I don't have that. I could fumigate. I have a bad card for that. This allows me a bonus if I have politics covered. I'm going to get the next card. I think I'm going to go along with everyone else and buy myself. Am I allowed to do politicking here? Yeah. So I'm going to throw myself in with these 2. It's the cheaper version and I get a bonus on it. And that puts us on white, who will also get one of those actions, and he wants to look at his cards, see what he can do. No pay if you're not advertising. Might be a time. Pay double to raise workers. Repeat a card. Freeze. Lose a turn, but state elections are more expensive than I can afford. Advertising. I don't think I'm even allowed to advertise. Oh yeah, I am. But it's not going to help me money-wise, so that's kind of iffy. Well, I can't build a building. I could lobby along with everyone else. Sure. When you are in doubt, in a game where there's hidden information and other people are acting on it, might as well work towards it. Another option, well, I can't take my payout, right? The collecting dues is only a base action. And now we go to the admin phase. The token moves. Workers drop. And now I have to think about what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do it yet, but I have to think. I'm in the county politics. That makes this appealing, it would duplicate that card. Just means nobody can pay. It may not be the best thing. This one might be appealing, but this isn't the turn for it, you see. I have the possibility of strikes. Freezes are not appealing because I have these. I'm not fumigating. So right now probably the most interesting card to me is the Bountiful Crop. And at this point I gotta make my decision for $1. I want to move my laborers and keep them happy, and we'll probably see everybody who can get by with just $1 doing that. Blue has 2. That's going to cost them $2 to move it up. Seems worth it. See, the thing is, you're going to have to pay these eventually unless you choose to just drop it all the way to the bottom. Red, also $2. I'm running a little low on money in some of these guys, but doesn't feel too bad yet. And green only has to pay $1. I should move those up too. And now he gets to choose his card, and he'll do this one. Players with no money in county politics can't get any pay. That goes underneath just so that this remains the active card. And now everybody gets their base action starting here. There's nothing for Los Angeles County still. I might take my payout. I only get $4, but I'm running awfully low on money. So that sounds kind of appealing. They took money too, but they didn't get as much. They only got $2 for their one territory, for their one grove. Blue grabbed the Tulare. Red swept the pot, which set things up for green to get another Riverside. And now we're on sort of that administrative office actions, which are notably not as interesting. I probably want to go with a production amenity if I can here. Let's fumigate. Losing a grove card is worse than losing a turn, I think. Although it's a long time before we get anywhere with that, but that's okay. I'm going to probably have to take cash again next time. And for white, well, white doesn't have the cash to do anything really. So I think they're going to have to pass. Oh, 9 is the move unused packing house, and you're not allowed to do that. So yeah, I think white's going to have to pass. Not taking advantage of their chip. Probably shouldn't have bought it because they're so low on cash now. That moves us, and we got to choose what he's doing. State election. That kills the chits. A couple people would lose a turn though. Now, in order to record that, the rules suggest stack these chits over to the side until this turn is over, so that we know that you know, those players are okay. Snooze. I don't know. Money doesn't. I don't have much capability for money. I could repeat the action and prevent people from grabbing money who don't have a political pay. That might actually be better than the state election. No pay if you're not advertising. Nobody's advertising. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be going with this. Now, we gotta take care of the other stuff though, like and now people can pay to upgrade. Now here's the problem. I have so little money, but $2 more gets me to the $5 level. I'll pay it. Other people, blue Blue has to pay 2. That gets them to where they don't have much money. They're going to sit behind. Red has to pay 2. They have the cash for it. They'll pay to update. Green only has to pay 1. They'll do that. Yellow might as well. So everyone but blue paid, which means blue might get a penalty of not being able to collect dues this turn. But that's not that bad. And now he's going to play the pollination card, which again keeps the child labor law at the front of things. And that means, I think, time for a little break for me. If I recall correctly, on this turn, white cleared the board, and then for their bonus action, they couldn't find anything they wanted to do, so they just passed. They can't canvas. Blue picked up a Tulare County. That gets them a set of Santa Fe, so they can drop a rail next time. Over here, I think he picked up a San Bernardino. I don't know what he did. Green spent money on something. Because he has 3 and he doesn't have a rail connection. There were no riversides up there. There still aren't. He dropped an ad down. That'll get him more money if he collects dues next turn. He could have collected this turn. He has the political lobby in place, but it wasn't an issue. Yellow picked up a Los Angeles County card, which blue could have stolen from him. But blue didn't want it because it's a UP card, and they wanted to make sure they got the Santa Fe's instead. And that means when yellow got their agency action, they picked up a train. So they're actually in pretty good shape to collect money next turn, and are really looking forward to that. That pushes this forward to blue. Everybody drops down. I'm going to have to make decisions on payouts in terms of the workers, who wants to make it, who doesn't, largely determined by how much cash you have available. So blue is going to have to pay $2. They probably don't want to, because they just don't have a lot of reserves on hand right now. They'll hold off. Acquire no grove. That could be painful. There are groves available, but we'll hope there's no strike. It's our card play, so there better not be, right? Red, also low on cash. They'd rather not do it right now, although honestly they're in Santa Barbara and San Bernardino, neither of which are available and probably won't be. They're figuring blue will probably pick up the Tulare card, which means, well, it means there probably won't be a card available, so spending money is actually more viable of an action. So we'll not get rid of green. There's no riverside. Same feeling in basis. We're going to let the workers kind of rot out there. Yellow has no cash. They won't be helping theirs. White is low on cash. So everybody's going to let their workers kind of fall behind a little bit here. And seeing that the guy who's playing the card is going to let his fall behind to the worst position, everyone else is pretty much okay. Yellow's the only one who's kind of grumpy because he has no cash. He's probably going to collect dues next time, although so likely is green. It might be worth green paying. Green's only got 1. Yeah, green's going to pay his buck to upgrade. And nobody else is interested. Okay. And now we decide on our card play. Strike. Not, definitely don't want to play that right now. We could repeat the action. That's not bad. We got that political lobby going on. We got this county election where we could bone people out of turns, but then we'd lose our political advantage, which makes it kind of iffy. We got this, which could kill his regional advertising. That's not worth a whole hell of a lot of money right now. So I'm going to play this one again and just keep that in action right now, because that's working pretty well for those of us with political lobbying. And I think I'm going to load this one up because we've gone a complete sequence of rounds. So a round is one person's holding of the cube, basically. And well, I'll be back shortly. I want to keep playing right now, but I just want to get this video in place instead.